we had 8 different cultural, educational, and art organizations that were each playing in a separate drive. And we brought them together and said, look, you're going to burn each other out, kill each other off, compete with each other, create bad feeling. But if you'll come together in one drive, we'll make you a challenge grant. And we did that, made a challenge grant. Till they reached the goal so quickly, we had to raise the challenge. And they wound up in public-private partnership raising over $100 million.
It wasn't so long ago that Columbus was a sleepy little mill town. The uptown storefront windows would darken at dusk. The sidewalks would have been emptied before even then. People didn't go out much after dark. Aside from a handful of churches, wig shops, and rundown bars, there just wasn't anywhere to go. You can tell a lot about a community by what it comes together to accomplish, by what it is willing to invest in. For generations, downtown Columbus had been written off. Some thought it best to just tear it down and start all over. But in a single generation, our city has made an incredible and inspiring investment in ourselves and has since emerged as a hub of the arts and culture in the Southeast, a place to truly be proud to call home. Because now the heart of Uptown beats loudly and proudly both day and night. Students stroll to class from loft apartments. The workforce at TSIS takes a break from work to grab a quick bite for lunch. Local musicians ply their trade in and outside any number of new clubs and restaurants. Revelers walk in all directions to experience the nightlife, to enjoy a play or see a performance. And some people simply sit at sidewalk tables just taking in the uptown scene. This is the new face of Columbus. And the crown jewel that adorns this new, revitalized face of the Fountain City is the visually striking, state-of-the-art RiverCenter for the Performing Arts. And this is her story. The story of RiverCenter is actually the story of Columbus over the last 20 years. It is the story of us. Because RiverCenter was never just about the building of a performing arts center. It was always about so much more than a bricks and mortar operation. It was nothing short of conceiving, financing, and implementing a new vision for our city.
By the time our community reached the beginning of the Columbus Challenge, we already had a good history of wonderful public-private partnerships. And the challenge presented some unique circumstances because a variety of agencies and organizations needed help. All had some relationship to the arts. And so it was only natural that after discussions took place for a while, we moved to the important decision that all the agencies would join together to raise funds for every organization and to build this jewel, which we call the RiverCenter for the Performing Arts. That was a momentous decision, a selfless decision on the part of many arts organizations, but a decision that we called the United Way of Capital Fund campaigns, and I think set Columbus apart in ways that we'd never dreamed we could do.
The Columbus Challenge would show just how much Columbus cherished the arts and was willing to invest in them. Issued by the Bradley Turner Foundation in 1995, this public-private fundraising campaign would eventually raise $101 million. Ground was broken for RiverCenter September 10, 1998. Hardy, Holzman, Pfeiffer & Associates, Hecht, Bertashaw, Johnson, Kidd & Clark, and Beer Skanska saw that every beam, every girder were precisely in place. 50 million pounds of concrete, 1 million masonry blocks, 300,000 bricks, 150,000 feet of conduit, 200 miles of wiring. And at 5 stories and 10 years, there are many more stories to be told, spectacles to behold, performances to enjoy at RiverCenter for the Performing Arts. And since the grand opening in May 2002, RiverCenter stages have been graced with a universe of stars. The wit of Lily Tomlin and Garrison Keillor, B. Arthur and Second City, Musical performances that span all genres from symphonic to rock and country, bluegrass to R&B and jazz. And Broadway-worthy series and theater productions that run the gamut from Camelot to Cabaret. Jerry Seinfeld has made RiverCenter a regular stop on his comedy tours, remarking that it is among his favorite rooms to play. Itzhak Perlman said after performing in Bill Hurd Theater, "Of all the theaters I have played in throughout the world, this is one of the finest." That it is.
So I grew up here in Columbus, Georgia. My parents moved here when I was in the first grade, and we actually moved right into that home that you see back there in that painting. And I lived here, grew up here. When I graduated, I was one of those kids that was like, well, it's been great, Columbus, thanks a lot, but I'm out of here and I'll probably never come back. And so I went out into the world and I did some things. I lived in New York, I lived in Birmingham, and then found myself back in Columbus 2 years ago. And just, again, thought I was passing through. And as I spent time here and started looking around, I started thinking to myself, there's wonderful music here. There are wonderful restaurants. The RiverCenter has amazing shows. And that was one of the things that sort of turned me around. I realized, wait, Broadway is coming to Columbus? Wait a minute. And so as I spend time here, I realize this is my home. This is Columbus. This is where I want to stay.
This is a monument to the performing arts that a generation ago would have seemed impossible, and a civic achievement that future generations of Columbus will cherish as a local landmark, offering endless hours of enjoyable and enriching entertainment. Citizens of Columbus, patrons of the arts, dreamers with visions of a better Columbus, this is what you have accomplished. This is your legacy. This is what your generation will be remembered for when our children and their children look back and hear of the Columbus that was and see the Columbus that is. Because of RiverCenter, Columbus State University has increased its presence in the downtown district, simultaneously making it a safer place and injecting it with a youthful spirit it has never known before. Because of RiverCenter, the Columbus Symphony Orchestra has a beautiful new home and continues to perform music worthy of cities many times our size. Because of RiverCenter, downtown has become more attractive to local businesses, with a surge in restaurants, nightclubs, and merchants all eager to stake a claim in the future of Columbus. And because of RiverCenter, Columbus has never been more attractive to drawing the best and the brightest from around the world to relocate here and take up the mantle for raising our city to even greater heights.
When my wife and I first came to Columbus here in 2008, I think it was, we were given a tour of the city. And one of the things we saw, or they showed us, was the RiverCenter. To be honest, we were absolutely blown away. This is a facility that cities 5 times the size would die for to have. I've also in the 3 years already seen quite a bit of transformation here in the downtown area. It's becoming much more alive, there's lots of things going on, and this is really important for companies like the W.C. Bradley Company, and I'm sure for other companies here in town, to be able to attract talent, and particularly talent that has come from larger cities or even from outside of the United States. This is truly a city where things are happening and where there's a lot more to come.
RiverCenter has been and will continue to be an engine of community, cultural, and economic development. After all, this place isn't just a building. It's a monument to what a community can do when singing together with one voice. It's a testament to our shared aspirations. It is the vision of a better Columbus. Because of you, that vision has been realized. This is what you have accomplished. This is what you have begun. And for that, we thank you.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the RiverCenter, we want to welcome you here tonight and thank you. If you were part of the group at the Bradley Turner Foundation who issued the challenge, we owe you a special thanks. If you were one of the people who responded to the challenge with a generous donation, thank you. If you're one of the people who has been contributing on an annual basis, thank you. When I first heard about the challenge, the first thing that came to my mind was the poem that you all know by Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. In that poem, he talks about taking a road that was left traveled, and that made all the difference. I felt that if we did not take this opportunity to take the challenge, that the community would never be the same. If I had someone that I was having come to Columbus and I was trying to get them to be interested in moving to Columbus, and I could only do one thing with them, I would ask them to come to the RiverCenter. I'd take them in the Bill Hurd Theater and say, look at what this city has done. Anyone who went in there would say, this community is committed to the arts, and this is a place I'd like to live. So we want to say thank you again. Let's make the next 10 years better than the first 10 years. We're going to want your support, your suggestions, and advice.